Hello, everyone, and welcome to Real Women Love Sports. So, if you tuned into Blog Talk, this is not the same recording. Our recording messed up and it did not download right. So, we are actually going to do a recap of what we talked about on Blog Talk. We did cover the fact that last week we went on and suggested very nicely that Des Bryant get a mentor. That was fantastic because someone must have told someone who told Dez, because he reached out to Jay Novacek and he has requested to have Jay Novacek as his mentor. That went over very shockingly with the NFL world, seeing how a lot of people have reached out to Dez since his initial entry into the NFL, and it just really wasn't well received, and now he's seeking a mentor. So
I mean, and it's good because he's going to need somebody who's been there, who's been on a championship, caliber team, and who knows the ins and outs of the business, and maybe somebody who's not necessarily out in the limelight. I mean, Dion, he's all out there, but Jay, he's very quiet, he's very kept, so he knows what he's doing. He's very reserved, and hopefully it's a good fit. It's a decision by Dez.
And you know what? No, we're talking about Dion. Dion had a whole lot to say last year about Dez and how Dez didn't fit in with what he was going for and who he was and all of that. And then after the crazy spectacle that him and Pilar has put on the past couple of months, and if you live out here in Dallas, you know what I'm talking about. It's very annoying. But that ridiculous spectacle, him dragging her out the room, her going to jail, having bruises and scratches and all this other stuff. I think Dez don't need to be associated with you not associated with him.
That's true.
So before, Dez had a lot of really kind of minor infractions, some maturity issues, the walking around in North Park with his pants sagging, getting sued for jewelry and appearances and things like that. So I think maybe before he just really felt like guidance wasn't needed. He was just doing what, people his age are doing. And this year it kind of got serious with the domestic violence thing with his mom. And I think he really realized that now he needs some real guidance. And Jay Novacek, like you said, out of the limelight, really good guy, is good. So I like this fit for him 100 times better than I like Dion's fit with him, because all I know is Dion will be teaching him how to say, I didn't do nothing. My son was in the room with me. Like, I don't know. That just didn't fit well with me. So,
anyway,
Dion, you on my list. But, so while we're talking Cowboys, we're going to transition into a Dallas Cowboy that we all know and loved or hate, T.O. T.O. was recently picked up and signed to Seattle Seahawks, and he was released today. And earlier today, this morning, he tweeted that I am no longer a Seahawk. I thank the organization for the opportunity. I'm truly blessed beyond relief. My faith is intact and will not waver. In that quote, faith and not were capitalized. So, as a T.O. fan and a T.O. follower, from that, I kind of got that at least his mental stability is on, and honestly, that he's not suicidal. Like, I worried about that when I first heard that he was cut, as in, where is T.O.'s mindset going to be? Where is his head at? And I guess at least from that tweet, it helps to know that in the next couple of days, we won't be hearing about him overdosing on some pills.
I mean, hopefully not. I mean, he's 39 years old, and hopefully he's finally matured. I mean, I think the last few years he's attempted that, with Seattle. I think he's kind of attempted that, trying to mature there and erase, that past that the media likes to bring out. And the bad thing is the media is always going to bring it out because it's somebody of a caliber of Terrell Owens.
Yeah. So, he played 2 games with Seattle, 2 preseason games. His first game, he dropped 5 balls. So he was more known for his drops than his catches. And it's sad because going into Seattle, all you heard when he was signed was praises from the staff. They were talking about how wonderful his tryout was and how great he looked to had not been playing for 18 months. And he was doing really well. And then once he was signed and he played against Denver, I think the biggest thing was that he dropped a 46-yard touchdown pass. And that was supposedly a very perfect throw. Along with that, he dropped 4 other passes. So it really wasn't a good night for him. Then they played against the Chiefs, and he did have 2 receptions. He had a 40-yard catch, and then he also had like a 1-yard screen throw. So that was pretty good. But I think that previous game probably overshadowed whatever he did in this game against the Chiefs. And it just wasn't impressive enough for Seattle. So when they had to make his cuts, and let's remember they did have to cut down the team. They let a lot of people go, and he was just one of the casualties in that they let him go. So the question I posed on the show when we did it live, and I'll pose it to you. Go ahead and leave your comments here on YouTube, and we will definitely address them. But the question I posed was, is T.O. still Hall of Fame worthy? If his career were to end right now, is he Hall of Fame worthy? And let's just kind of go over his history so we can put the numbers out there, and then you guys, give us your feedback and let us know what you think. So he was drafted in the 3rd round by San Francisco in 1996. He has started in 201 of the 219 regular season games in his career. He has 1,078 receptions for 15,934 yards and 153 touchdowns, which is the 2nd most in league history. In his 9 seasons, he has at least 1,000 yards in receiving and 13 yards with at least 50 catches. And with his catches, he ranks 3rd in the league. Total receptions is 6th in his NFL career. So we just stated that he has he's number 2 in the league for
2 or 3.
Yeah, he's 2nd most in the league for his yards, his receptions, yards, and touchdowns. He is 3rd in the league with his catches, and his total receptions puts him 6th in the league in his NFL career. So that being said, we know he spent 8 seasons with San Francisco, 2 with Philadelphia, 3 with Dallas, and then Buffalo and Cincinnati. But I think Philly is kind of where he started to ruffle some feathers. He became that media whore thing. And I've said this before, but I think it had a lot to do with his management guidance under Drew. Drew did not do him any justice. He did not filter him the way that he should have been. But that being said, and those numbers being said, do you think T.O. is Hall of Fame worthy?
I think he is. With the numbers, politically, that's iffy. I mean, it all depends on who was on that board when it's time to review that. I mean, if you have somebody who's a T.O. fan, then yes. If you have no, then it's not going to go. And that's the bad thing, You
know what? From the league standpoint, though, you would think that these people know the part that the media plays in it. The media eggs these players on a lot. And Jerry has said himself that he knows that T.O. is a good guy and that T.O. is not the person that's perceived by the media. So the people that are in those chairs to put people in the Hall of Fame, you think that they would know that this is the guy, and this is the guy the media wants him
who's
to
on the
be
board,
or
because
perceives
they
him
may
to be.
not understand that. If they've never been in that situation, they may not understand it, and they may just take it at face value. They may not even look into it as far as what's actually going on compared to what's being shown, what's being released.
You know what I think would be a good move for Hall of Fame? I mean, it's not gonna happen, but give me the numbers. I want the name blacked out. I don't want to know who these numbers belong to. Show me the numbers. Show me their career. Show me what they did, and vote that way. And then take off the black tape and say, "Oh, look who you let in." Like, I mean, as long as they don't have a Barry Bonds situation where they popping pills or steroids or shooting up or whatever, they're not Barry Bonds or Lance Armstrong with the drug commission, then black out their names. Give me the numbers. Let me say, based on your numbers, you're going into the Hall of Fame. Because based on the numbers, T.O. should be Hall of Fame worthy.
And it's funny that you mentioned Drew, because Drew has had his hand into Dez Bryant. And luckily, Dez wisened up and he got somebody else. But it's something about that name Drew that got has these athletes who can be caliber star athletes, and somehow he ends up straying them the wrong way. Or maybe it's just a big coincidence.
It's a lack of guidance. Some agents see their clients and they guide them a certain way, they mold them a certain way, they know you should do this, you shouldn't do that, and some agents sign their clients on that dotted line and let them be them and go out. And I think that's what Drew does. I don't think that Drew gives them the guidance that at the age they are when they come in the league they should have. He doesn't give them the teachings and the trainings that they need, even as far as how to manage their money. Look at T.O. We all seen T.O. say, "I'm broke." Like, there's no way he should be broke. But people stole his money. He did not manage his money well, and he is not a flashy person. He didn't buy crazy cars and crazy houses and boats and yachts and whatever. I mean, he may have had some child support issues.
Which is probably where his money
went. He got some child support things, but aside from that, he literally had people on his camp that stole his money, that siphoned money out of his account and put it in theirs. And where was his management team through all of this? Where was Drew? Where was the team that Drew put together to guide T.O. financially? I don't think that he helps his players in any kind of growth. He's more of an agent for a well-seasoned player who's, kind of got it together, doesn't need much much guidance, just work out my contracts and let me do my thing. Because that's what Drew does. And he somehow ends up with these players who need a little bit more hand-holding in the beginning than most, and he strays them the wrong way. But, like we said, good thing Dez has opted to go another way, and I'm glad, and hopefully we see a change. And, I mean, it's all about who you surround yourself with, and Dez is going to surround himself with some different people.
So go ahead and leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about whether or not T.O. is Hall of Fame worthy. I mean, if the numbers say so, then he is. But, we want to hear from you. What do you think?
Okay, and then another question we posed was, he played for the Cowboys, right? So is he ring-worthy? Does he go in?
No. Everybody who's on that Ring of Honor, they spent majority of their career with the Cowboys. They more like, I think most of them started their career with the Cowboys, and a couple of others, like Emmitt Smith, he's up there. He didn't finish with the Cowboys, but he retired as a Cowboy.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that wouldn't even sit well with a lot of Cowboys fans.
I think it wouldn't sit well with a lot of Cowboys fans, because even when he was with the Cowboys, a lot of Cowboy fans were not T.O. fans. It was really, really interesting to see the dynamic that T.O. had here at the Cowboys, because we've always said that T.O. is a love him or hate him kind of player. You watch him because you love him, or you watch him because you hate him. He's definitely a media. I mean, he's an attention grabber. He gets the numbers when it comes to ticket sales and audience wise. But um, a lot of people watch him to see him fail, and a lot of people watch him to say, "See, I told you he was a good player." But when he got to the Cowboys, I think a lot of people held their breath because of what he was media wise, and just being a Cowboy, we already know that Cowboys don't have the best reputations. I mean, we had Michael Irvin, for God's sake. So
Michael Irvin got the job done. His
the
field may not have been the best, but on the field he got the job done.
But I mean that we had to deal with Michael Irvin off the field too. We had to deal with his allegations and his drug use and all these other things. So when you looked at coming from that place and then looked at T.O. and the type of reputation he had, I think a lot of Cowboys fans were just a little worried and just, kind of wondering, is this going to be another Michael Irvin?
Surprisingly, if you still go to a Cowboys game, you will still see people with T.O. jerseys. I'm the other one. Yeah, but I mean outside of that, but I mean you still see. I mean, so there are some T.O. fans, but I don't think it's enough for them to
put them in the ring of honor.
And even if they are, I don't think Jerry would. I don't think it wouldn't make any sense. I think it'd be a disgrace to everybody else who is in the ring of honor.
A disgrace?
You can look at it like this. T.O. spent the rest of the guys spent most of their career there with the Cowboys.
So then let's bring T.O. back. Let's bring T.O. back and put him in a Cowboys jersey and show you what he can do. Because I think T.O., numbers-wise, is definitely a Hall of Famer. And I think T.O., if he spent more time here as a Cowboy, would definitely be in the Ring of Fame.
We'll see.
We'll see. But I think the last thing we touched on is we are doing a football draft. And we have talked about that several times. And we are doing the countdown to fantasy football, 10 days, 1 hour, 6 minutes, and 59, 58, 57, 56. Yeah. So we're doing a fantasy football league, which I am super excited about. I will be doing a post here on YouTube to kind of tell you the ins and outs of fantasy football, because we really want you people, all people, to participate. But I really want my women to get involved. This is Real Women Love Sports. So I really want my women to be involved, and I have a lot of people who said they're interested, but they just don't know how fantasy football works. So even if you love sports and you just watch it all the time, fantasy leagues are a little, confusing. So I'm going to go ahead and tape a video and let you know just kind of how the pointing works and how drafting works, and we'll go through that. And, just get involved. Let's have fun. We did a basketball fantasy league last season, which was our first fantasy league here at Real Women Love Sports. It was great. We had fun. We had participation. I believe I won. And I think I did. I know he didn't. So I am just very excited to do it for football season and then to do it again for basketball season. So it's going to be great. So like I said, we will definitely be going ahead and putting that information up. I'll put it on our Twitter, Facebook, and I will also release a YouTube video about the Fantasy Football League. And what else? Aside from that, still getting the information on the new network that we were picked up on. We will still be doing the Blog Talk Radio. You still will be able to catch our YouTube, but I will also be doing some additional stuff on this new network. It is very basketball oriented and geared a lot towards basketball. So we'll still have our general sports stuff here. You will always be able to catch us on Blog Talk talking about UFC and boxing and football and baseball and anything else that your sports hearts desires. You know me, I'm trying to get into kind of a fitness exercise regimen thing for women, so I'll still be covering stuff like that. But for more basketball oriented people, I will be having a more basketball specific talk based on this network. So I will get you that information when I get that information. And anything else?
No.
All right. So thanks for watching us. Thanks for listening to us on Blog Talk. We are on Facebook, Real Women Love Sports. I'm on Twitter. My handle is @RealWomen, LUVSPTS, Real Women Love Sports. And you can catch us on our channel on YouTube. Other than that, I'm Tiffany.
I'm Matt.
And we are out.